Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Sunday Housecall. We have my good colleague, Dr. Cynara Coomer, with us again, and welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks so much
How
for
you
having me
been?
again.
We didn't see you last week, I think.
I know. Thanksgiving time was a busy family time, but
I
it was
hope
fun.
you had a good Thanksgiving.
It was a good one. Gained a few pounds. It's all good.
So, just because of that, I actually received so many emails saying, Cynara, you know, it was Thanksgiving, I gained some weight, we're going to all the Jewish holidays and Christmas and New Year.
Right.
What do we need to do to lose some weight? So you tell me like some of your secrets, and I'm going to put up like some of the lists that I made. What do you usually do? Of course, you always stay in good shape, but besides exercise, anything else that you do to make sure you don't gain enough weight?
I mean, activity is so important. I mean, fortunately, I have a 7-year-old and a 1-year-old, so they keep me plenty active. But activity is really important. Certain types of exercising is really important. But your diet is really important as well. And the minute I go off my diet, I'm one of these people that if I sit next to a cheesecake and smell it, I'm going to gain 10 pounds, right? So I have to watch what I eat as much as possible. I mean, I definitely go off the scale here and there, but definitely I try to watch what
portion
I eat.
control.
So much.
Yeah, you know, I looked at a lot of data and I tried to kind of like dig out all the good stuff, and also a very easy list for everybody to really like keep their weight, maintain it. And it's not always about exercise. Sometimes exercise, of course it's important, but sometimes it's hard, they don't have the time. I want you to take notes, at least from my list, and this doesn't have to be the list, but it's one that really works for a lot of my friends and patients, and I certainly think that you can learn from this.
Right.
The first one is exactly what you said. Let's put the list up and you can learn from this. Exercise, exercise, exercise. As you said, it's very important.
Right.
So,
and certain types of exercise are important for increasing your metabolism. So weightlifting is important. Not necessarily bodybuilding weightlifting, but at least doing some sort of weightlifting to increase some of your muscle mass, because your muscles burn more calories than your fatty tissue. And the other nowadays is so popular is the HIIT training, or the high intensity interval training, which you can do on a treadmill. You can do it running through the park, where you do walking for 5 minutes or 1 minute, then you go to jogging, then you go to sprinting, then you go back to walking and jogging, sprinting. So that high intensity interval training where you're hitting it hard, but it's not a constant 30 minutes of hard intensity.
I think even if you devote, and you don't have the time, 3 times a week, 30 minutes of treadmill or walking, or get some sort of trainer to help you with this. So this way you have a dedicated time for yourself to do it is absolutely important.
Absolutely.
As we get older, we lose the muscle mass. That's important to control your diabetes and your sugar and all of that things. And also you prevent osteoporosis as we get older. So I think that's really, but to maintain your weight, that's the minimum you should do. And everybody should have an hour and a half of their time. The second one is, this is a whole list of A, B, C, D. So B is for breakfast.
Yes.
And we've talked about this on TV all the time. And I think when your mom said that breakfast is the most important food of the day, they were absolutely right. Because you break the fast and you get all your energy. Right.
You have to put fuel into the car to get it going for the day. And it is so incredibly important. You want to make sure you add some protein into that breakfast, so you don't want to necessarily just eat all cereal or on a daily basis eating cereal. You do want to try to put some form of protein into your breakfast, and actually into any of your meals. But yes, breakfast is very important.
I think you break the fast, you increase your metabolism.
Right.
You get not only like start all the food that helps with your concentration and your ability to do better, but when you starve yourself, you're going to dig into your reserve, which is your fat, and you start burning that. And when you starve yourself and then you get to lunch and you're hungry and you're going to take a big meal, all of that goes back and become a body fat, and it actually works against you. So having a healthy breakfast, you know, oatmeal, any kind of berries, all these antioxidants is absolutely a great thing for you.
Right.
C is coffee.
Right, or caffeine.
Okay.
Caffeine is really good is really good for increasing your metabolism. And a lot of those energy or diet medications that they sell over the counter really contain caffeine in them. As part of their combination. Not that I'm promoting doing that, because those can be actually quite dangerous for you if you're not able to tolerate those types of medications or chemicals that within those. But but caffeine is important. You can do it with coffee, but other forms of caffeine like green tea or oolong tea are probably a little bit healthier.
We'll get to green tea in a minute, but so C stands for coffee, and the reason why I've talked about this forever. And at the beginning, people, all the medical doctors were coming after me saying like, oh, coffee is not good for your heart and your reflux. Obviously, if you're a pregnant woman, obviously if you have like high blood pressure, that's common sense and you want to stay away from this. But there's a vast number of research that's coming out of the pipeline for years that talks about the fact that if you have 3 to 4 cups of coffee a day, about 8 ounces, it can reduce the risk of diabetes, it can reduce the risk of prostate cancer, Alzheimer, multiple sclerosis, and on and on. Obviously, you talk to your doctor and find out if it's good for you.
Right.
Now, what's interesting about coffee is that it's not the caffeine. It's all the polyphenols, it's the magnesium and chromium and ascorbic acid that actually helps with all of these diseases and weight loss. And that's really important. So if you want to have decaf, that's perfectly fine. The only thing I usually tell my patients is don't add too much sugar. You see some of the American diet, people like pouring sugar in this thing.
Well, you get it from the cart, right? And then in New York City, we get it from the cart. We want it regular, which means regular with a bunch of milk and sugar in it.
That's true.
Which is not good.
So that's not a good thing for you. So you want to be careful because all that milk is cholesterol, etc. And I also, as a urologist, I tell them, because it's a diuretic, add at least 1 or 2 glasses of water along with coffee because it can run out. So we got A, B, C, and then D is the diet, which I know like you've talked about it, but go ahead.
Right, you really have to eat healthy foods. You want to try to keep it to a good portion of it being proteins, minimize the unhealthy fats in your diet. Carbohydrates not necessarily bad, but those processed carbohydrates are really what get you. But as long as you're keeping that in proportion with the proteins. But I think the other key component to this is eating, as you kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, is start early with a breakfast, but eating every few hours with a small meal is actually better than eating 3 large meals a day. So if you're able to find a way to do that 5 to 6 small meals a day, that actually really improves your metabolism because it keeps your body's metabolism going. When we eat, we actually increase our metabolism.
I love what you just said because I think people need to pay attention to this. The way we were when we were in Europe, and I lived in France and London for many years, is that we ate all day long and yet we kept our health and our weight was in order. Here, what you do is you have some breakfast, you don't have anything else, big lunch, and then you go to dinner and you just want to kill yourself because like, you know, you've been working hard, you're tired, and you just have a big meal and immediately you go to bed and that's when you start gaining a lot of weight. So I think what you said was very important. Small portion control, but have them every couple of hours. And I think that's the reason why this is important is you basically keep your sugar level at a very steady level. So you're not going through this like swinging sugar level that starves you.
And causing these surges of insulin, which actually cause you to store fat.
That's a very important point.